Hello everyone. In the weekend video for Formula 44 meditation, I am very much tempted to summarize all the chapters of Bhagavad Gita in a very brief capsule just to refresh our knowledge about this most wonderful text called Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God. Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God, has 18 chapters and it has 700 verses, also called shlokas. My text, my words will be from the commentary compiled by Swami Mukundanand of JK Yoga, who has been a mentor for more than 2 decades. Bhagavad Gita is embedded in the Mahabharata, the most celebrated epic. It is a story about the great battle between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, and Sri Krishna is an important character, or to say that the most important character, who is doing the role of a charioteer in this battle, while Arjun, the supreme archer, engages in the war. So I take Sri Krishna, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita, as the supreme person, the manifestation of divine. If God has all the power, His power is unlimited and infinite, why is it not possible for God to appear in a form? On that basis, I consider Sri Krishna to be the God and the supreme person, beyond whom there is nothing. He is the cause of all causes, and He is so infinite and so mystical that no one can ever understand Him. With that background, let's see what is the content in each of the chapters. Chapter 1, Arjun Vishad Yog, is about lamentation by Arjun about the consequences of the war. Arjun, after all, is waging this war, or rather, he is trapped into this war with his own cousins. His father's elder brother Dhritarashtra's sons are his cousin brothers, 100 in number, and because of the jealousy and the animosity, and despite all attempts to prevent the war has become inevitable. But in the battlefield, Arjun is backtracking. He is saying that, Krishna, this war will do no good, because I am fighting my own blood relatives, kith and kin. I am fighting my own guru, the teacher. I am fighting my mentors and so many loved ones. And that is why he says, in the war, so many men will be killed. The women will be shelterless. The society will have so many problems. What about the children? What about the progeny? And he casts his bow and arrow aside as he concludes his lamentation. Visijyam shasharam chapam shoka samvigna manasaha. This is the last verse of chapter 1. Evam uktva arjuna sankhye rathopastha upavishita. So, saying this, Arjun sat down on the chariot, casting his bow and arrow aside. The second chapter begins, which is called Sankhya Yoga. Sri Krishna speaks for the first time and chastises Arjun in the opening verses, talks about the immortality of the soul, that the soul is everlasting, eternal. So why lament? Because we are not the body, we are the soul. Body belongs to the soul, which is subject to destruction and decay. But the soul, the real us, is permanent, is eternal. So why lament? He also says, even if you consider that the soul is not permanent, don't you know the fact that the body has to be left behind? Or in other words, the death is inevitable for the one who is born. And he also says that for the one who is born, the old age and death is inevitable, and the one who is dead, he will appear again. So, jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyarthe na shochitum arhasi. There is no need to lament. Then Sri Krishna talks about a method which is based on the duties. He tells Arjun, you are a Kshatriya, so how can you not fight? This is as per the rules and regulations prescribed in the Vedas. The dharma has to be followed. And what is dharma? What ought to be done? Dharan karne yogya. So he lectures about the importance of dharma and tells Arjun that you must fight, otherwise you will attract so much of mocking and derision. And also, you are a winner in both cases. If you die fighting the war, you will attain heavenly abodes. And if you win, you will become victorious and you will enjoy the kingdom. So that is the next section in the second chapter, about the duties, about the Karma Kand. But at that point he moves on to the next topic, which is a superior method of work as per him, that don't think about the outcome of the action. Just do the action considering this is your duty, and leave the outcome to be decided by a supreme reality, a divine reality, which he will explain later. And that he calls Buddhi Yoga, or the union with the divine using the intellect. famous verse, Karmanyavadikaraste ma phaleshu kadachan. And how to enact Buddhi Yoga, he goes on to describe, explaining what happens when we contemplate and how the mind gets attached to the object of the contemplation, and we develop attachment, and then the fulfillment of the desire about that object leads to greed, and non-fulfillment leads to anger. That's the next part in the chapter, and different explanations about how to be in Buddhi Yoga. Prajahati yada kaman, etc. Those verses. Finally, he says, Esa Brahmi sthiti partha nainam prapya vimuhyati stitva sham antepi stitva sham antakalepi brahma nirvana richati. If you act in this state of mind, following Buddhi Yoga in a sthit pragya state, unwavering mind, you will attain eternal peace, eternal bliss. And that's where the 72 verses in the second chapter finishes. The third chapter is about Karma Yoga, where the Karma Yoga is described and compared to Jnana Yoga, because second chapter, the first part was about the knowledge, which is also called the Sankhya Yoga. So when Arjuna asks, first you spoke about Sankhya Yoga, the knowledge, and now you are asking me to perform karma. So I am confused, which is superior? So Sri Krishna explains it is not about the superiority or the inferiority. It is about the nature of the people. Some people are given to contemplation. Some people are given to the nature of work. Depending on that, one follows Sankhya Yoga, another follows Buddhi Yoga or Karma Yoga. And the chapter ends with an atomic verse. Dhumena vriyate vahni yatha darsho malena cha yatholbena grabhastatha yatha tene the mamritam. Like the smoke covers the fire, the dust covers the mirror, and like the womb covers the fetus, the power of desire is such that even the mind of an intelligent person gets clouded. And then we move into the fourth chapter, Jnana Karma Sannyas Yoga, where Shri Krishna reveals himself. He says, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yovetti Tatvatah Tyaktva Deha Punarjanma Nati Mameti So Arjuna. Now the cat is out of the bag. Shri Krishna point blank says, he is the Supreme Person. He is the one who is to be worshipped and followed. And he prescribes that perform bhakti, yoga, devotion, either through karma or through jnana. And he explains the two philosophies in graphic detail. And in the fifth chapter, which is an extension of this knowledge, it is called Karma Sannyas, because there are now two cases. In one case, the aspirant, the spiritual aspirant, either relinquishes the material activities and engages in pure spiritual activities, or the case where the person remains whatever he is doing in his material existence, but he dedicates the fruits of his actions to the divine. So one is called Karma Yoga and another is called Karma Sannyas. And Sri Krishna favors Karma Yoga because Karma Sannyas may be misinterpreted and misunderstood by the vast majority. So he is saying become a Karma Yogi rather than you become a Karma Sannyasi. Some people may become Karma Sannyasis, but majority the advice is become a Karma Yogi. Do whatever you are doing. Bring the divine into the picture. Bring the concept of doing selfless work without worrying about the outcome. And the 6th chapter, the Dhyan Yoga, about the technique of attaching one's mind to God, meditation, etc., is so beautifully described. There are many, many important verses. Uddared Atman Atmanam, na Atmanam absadayet. Atmaiva Yatmani Bandhur Atmaiva Ripuratmanah. He cautions, look, the mind is the real point. That is why the mind can become either the greatest enemy or the best friend. How we manage our mind. The mind is very fickle. It will take us to different areas. But if we know how to control the mind, how to manage the mind, we can elevate our soul. Otherwise, we will degrade. And then comes the 7th chapter, Gyan, 7th chapter, Gyan Vigyan Yoga. Amazing verses and knowledge we obtain. For example, Rashoham Apsukan Konteya Prabhasmi Shasi Suryayaho Prabhavam Sarva Vedeshu Shabdam Khe Paurusham Nishu. Sri Krishna starts describing his glories that I am the taste in the water. I am the shine, brightness of the moon and the sun. I am Omkar, the primordial Om sound vibrations. I am the sound in the space and I am the ability in the person. 8th chapter is called Akshar Brahma Yoga. It is about the journey of the soul and what happens upon death. Yam yam vapi asmaran bhava tyajat yante kalevaram. Shri Krishna says that contemplation is the key. Whatever you are contemplating at the end of your life, you will become that. And this point is very well described in this chapter. Also, this chapter conveys the best summary of Bhagavad Gita when Shri Krishna says in the 7th shlok, Tasmat sarveshu kaleshu ma manushmar yudhyacha. Oh Arjun, what is this essence of Bhagavad Gita, the song of God? The essence is, with the best of your ability and with the best of your potential, you do the best that you can do. But remember the divinity. Remember that there is a supreme entity. Remember that supreme entity is watching you, every thought of yours, every action, every word, all the time. So it is best that the soul is ever in the remembrance. That means we are forever remembering this reality and then transacting our actions in the world. 9th chapter is very fascinating. It's called Raj Vidya Yoga, about the confidentiality of this divine knowledge. And amazing verses, Raj Vidya, Raj Guhyam, Pavitram, Idam Uttamam, Pratyaksha, Vagamam, Dharmayam, Susukham, Kartum Abhyayam. This knowledge is the most confidential, most secretive, but so virtuous, so auspicious, easy to transact, etc., etc. 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga, we learn about various opulences of Sri Krishna. When Sri Krishna describes that his opulences are infinite, but let me just tell you a few. And he starts talking about various aspects of his opulences. For example, 10:20. Aham atma gudakesha sarvabhutashaya stitah aham adirhi madhyam cha bhutana mant eva cha. I am seated in the heart of every living being. And so many more. 11th chapter is about the Vishwaroop Darshan Yoga, where Shri Krishna reveals his divine cosmic personality. And Arjun tells that, "O Shri Krishna, you are eternal, you are unborn, you are the original personality, etc., etc. Tvam Adideva Purusha Purana, Tvamasya Vishwasya Param Nidhanam, Vitasya Vedyam Cha Param Chadham, Tvaya Tatam Vishwamanant Rupam." That is 10:38. And recently in the movie Oppenheimer, one verse from this chapter was quoted, and that is Kaloksami Lokakchaya Pravritta Lokan Samahar Tumiham Pravritta. Oppenheimer had said, upon success of the experiment of the atom bomb, of the atomic nuclear fission, I am the time, the destroyer of the world. That verse comes from this chapter 11. Chapter 12 about bhakti, the yoga of devotion, bhakti yoga. Amazing shlokas, most important. Mayyeva man adhatasva, may buddhim niveshaya. Nivasyasyasi mayyeva at urdhvamna sanshaya. You will definitely reach me if you involve your mind and intellect on me. 13th chapter is fascinating, Kshetra Kshetragya Yoga, where Shri Krishna describes that there is the field of the soul. There are 5 gross elements: earth, water, fire, air, space, by which the gross body is made. There is the subtle body. There is the subtle body, Sukshma Sharir, which is consisting of 18 elements, 5 sense perceptions, 5 karmendriya, 5 jnanendriya, man, buddhi, ahankar, 5 pran. And Kshetragya means the knower of the field, which is the soul. And there are amazing verses here also. Iti Kshetram Tatha Jnanam Gyeyam Choktam Samasatah. Shri Krishna says, so far I have explained to you the knowledge, what is to be known, the field of activities. Iti Kshetram Tatha Jnanam Gyeyam, what is to be known, and my devotee acquires this knowledge and attains me. The 14th chapter is about the 3 gunas, the 3 gunas of the Prakriti, Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic, Guna Traya Vibhag Yoga, where what is the mode of goodness, Sattvic, what is the mode of goodness, what is the mode of passion, Rajasic, and what is the mode of ignorance, Tamasic, is described in great detail. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastha, madhyam tishtanti rajasa. And the outcome, if we remain in the tamasic mode, we go into the nether regions, we go into the hellish planets. The outcome is quite ghastly for the tamasic. For the rajasic, it is mixed. We come back into the earthly planet, and for sattvic we obtain the heavenly planets. But the heavenly planets within the material realm are also subject to Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Mad, Moh, Matsarya. All the elements of Maya are present in the upper planets also, called heavenly planets, Swargalok. So that is not our destination, because that is not liberating. We are still bound. Only thing is, because of our good deeds, we are enjoying much, much more. But the seed of the problem is not yet eliminated. So that elimination is only possible when we are born as a human in the 8.4 million species. 15th chapter is Purushottam Yoga, the yoga of the Supreme Person, and incredible nuggets of knowledge are there. For example, Sarvasya Chaham Hridi Sannivisto Matta Smritir Gyan Apohanam Cha Vedaishcha Sarvair Ahmeiva Vedyo Vedan Kritvet Videva Chaham. So, again Shri Krishna says, I am there in the heart of every living being. I am the origin of Vedas. I am the one who is to be known by the Vedas, and I am the only knower of the Vedas. So he says all three. Vedaishcha sarvair ahmeva vedyo vedant kridved videva chaham. I am Ved, Vedya, Vedavit, Sarvasya Chaham Hridhi Sannivisto Matta Smritir Gyan Apohanam Cha Vedaishcha Sarve Ahmeva Vedyo Vedant Kridved Videva Chaham. And the 16th chapter is about divine and demoniac nature. So, two types of personalities Shri Krishna mentions. One like Arjun, who is born with divine qualities. Abhyam Sattvam Sansuddhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthitihi Dana Damascha Yagyascha Swadhyaya Astapa Arjvam Ahimsa Satyam Akrodhas Tyaga Shantira Paishunam Daya Bhuteshvalolukvam Madhvam Hirira Chapalam Teja Chama Smriti, etc., etc., which describes all the divine qualities which Arjun is born with, compared to the demoniac qualities and the worst amongst that are the Kam, Krodh and Lobh, about which Sri Krishna says, Trividham narkasyedam dwaram nashnam atmanah Kama, Krodhas tatha Lobhas tasmad etad trayam tejet. These three lead to the gates of hell: the lust, anger and greed, and must be watched and controlled. 17th chapter is about Shraddha Traya Vibhag Yoga, where the three types of qualities, the gunas, are again described, and how we develop the faith in the Lord. And we come across very many useful verses. For example, we learn about the three types of food, which is Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic. Ayu, Sattva, Balarogya, Sukh, Priti, Vivardhanaha, Rashya, Snigdhaha, Hridya, Ahara, Sattvica, Priyaha. Sattvic food, if we consume, it leads to long life, leads to the bliss in the heart, and strength, etc. Opposed to Rajasic, which causes disease and laziness, etc. Grief. Finally, we come to the end of Bhagavad Gita in the 18th chapter. But the Lord surprises by saying, whatever I taught, all those pieces of knowledge can be transcended by one supreme knowledge, which is Paradharma or Parodharma, that is surrender to me. And if the soul takes the Lord to be the shelter, every other dharma becomes unimportant. The importance of surrendering to the Lord, to consider Lord as a supreme shelter and to remain in this knowledge, is like watering the root of the plant And every other dharma is supposed to be already executed if we sincerely do that. And that is what comes out in the Supreme Verdict 1866. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshishyami ma shucha. O Arjun, the final verdict is this. This is the most confidential knowledge, that forget about all the ritualistic dharma, all the karma kand, and come to my shelter, surrender to me, and don't fear about your past. I will take care of all that. No wonder the last verse in Bhagavad Gita, Sanjay ends up saying, Yatra Yogeshwara Krishno Yatra Partho Dhanurdharaha Tatra Shri Vijayo Bhuti Dhruva Nitir Matir Mama. This is my final conclusion. Sanjay says, who was narrating Bhagavad Gita to Dhritarashtra, that wherever there is the supreme archer, Arjun, and wherever there is the master of all yogas, Shri Krishna, there will always be victory, there will always be opulences, there will always be auspiciousness and all good. So this is a little refresher on the content of the entire Bhagavad Gita, the Song of God. Let us glorify the Lord in whichever form we worship, because God is the one. Different religions, different people worship in different ways. And this is what Bhagavad Gita says, the Song of God. With that, let us meet up again and reflect these thoughts in our meditation sessions in Formula 44. Take care.